We've discussed the topic so many times before with our own Apple reporter, Steve Kovach, and Big Technology's Alex Kantrowitz. We're bringing them back for more because there's more headlines. Guys, it's good to see you. AK, I'll begin with you because you're the one who sat right next to me here and said no brainer. Apple should do it. Yet another report now says they were talking about it. What do you think?
I think it's still a no-brainer. If you think about what Perplexity does, it takes the leading AI models and it turns them into products. Actually, the product that it's using the AI models for, number one is search, but it's also done assistive type applications and AI voice, right? I think a lot of people are going to start speaking with AI with their voice as opposed to chatting with them. And I'm of the belief that most of the leading AI models are going to commoditize. And if that happens, what do you want to do? Do you want to be building these leading large language models, or do you want to be building the best products that you can with the technology? And I think Perplexity has shown that they really know how to build AI product. You take a company like that, you bring it into Apple, which has the need and the distribution, and you're looking at a very productive marriage if you can get the culture synchronization right. And I think that's the hardest part. And I think that's why Apple has hesitated here.
Well, I don't know if the courtship is going to turn into matrimony. I mean, it doesn't sound to me, Steve Kovach, from what you've already told me on whatever program we've had this conversation, that smoke doesn't necessarily lead to fire in this case.
Yeah, and the M&A team at Apple, they kick these things around all the time. This report that we're talking about now, once upon a time, they were looking at Tesla. They were looking at so many other companies, these major acquisitions. But we know this already, Scott. Apple does not like to do that. This doesn't seem to be the direction they're going in. I'm sorry, Alex. I mean, I know you really want it to happen, but it doesn't seem like they want to do it. Instead, they're looking to partner or license the technology from one of these major LLM providers. Right now in the running, it seems like OpenAI, Anthropic, and last week we got that report that Google Gemini is in the running. And the clock is also ticking, Scott, because any day now, the Department of Justice, or I'm sorry, the judge in the DOJ case that Google lost is going to decide remedies and the fate of that relationship between Google and Apple. And look, Apple is still very attractive to these LLM makers because there's a huge distribution system for them. There's over 2 billion devices that can get their LLM on. And right now, it seems like Apple is really focused on not necessarily acquiring their way to it, but doing what Perplexity does, building on top of these LLM models and doing it themselves, because the Apple intelligence model just has not worked out. It is well below par and well underperforms all these others.
Which, Steve, would suggest that maybe desperate times call for desperate measures, whether one would consider this to be a desperate move or not. It would certainly be out of the norm. It would be a company that doesn't like doing large deals. The biggest deal it's ever done, of course, is Beats. They're sitting on a mountain of cash.
Yeah.
Maybe they should, because they have no choice.
And there is a huge camp that's been saying that about Apple for so long. They need to acquire, they need to buy, they need to do something other than acquiring their own stock. And we've just seen over and over again throughout Tim Cook's tenure, they're just allergic to that. They don't want to do that. This information report had some really good details, how Eddie Q is kind of in that camp. He really is pushing to do a big, bold deal in artificial intelligence. We also heard from Tim Cook a couple weeks ago. I was in the same room with him asking him about this. What are you thinking about artificial intelligence and M&A and how that applies? And he kind of gave me the same answer he's been giving for the last decade or so when people ask him about M&A. So we'll make the decision and we'll make an acquisition if it makes sense, if it's additive towards our product roadmap. Sure, Perplexity could do that, but also part of their product roadmap could just be licensing one of these LLMs. That really seems to be the direction they want to go in before spending, I don't even know what it would cost to buy Perplexity, at least $20 billion or more. I mean, I think they're well above that valuation now. That's a huge chunk of money. We should also note that Tim Cook doesn't think this battle is over, Scott. He sees it as a much longer term. There's a Bloomberg report a couple weeks ago that he told staff in an all-hands meeting that he thinks the AI race is still up for grabs and it's still theirs to win. So we haven't seen anyone really leapfrog Apple in a meaningful way as far as besides OpenAI. So there is still potentially time for them to figure this out next year.